I am either a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a doctor, but today we will be diving deep into the chronicles that is this Brooke Schofield situation. If you had basically no idea who this girl was, like myself, let me give you a very quick rundown on who Brooke Schofield is. You've probably seen her from clips from the podcast Cancelled that she co-hosts with infamous person, Tana Mojo. I actually Googled the Cancelled podcast, and this is what the Google AI said. After years of growing up under the constant scrutiny of public opinion, social media juggernaut Tana Mojo is officially taking back the mic. Acting as a natural evolution of her acclaimed storytime videos, this offers an intimate look at Mojo. I don't watch podcasts like this, and the reason that I don't is because, we know who these people are. This situation, not really that surprising. We were all there when Tana had her PewDiePie on the bridge moment. Within this whole situation with Tana and Cody, I will always side with Tana, but I think the situation with Tana, I think the situation with Brooke is why we need to look at these influencer cancellations with a little bit more nuance and critical thinking.
Clinton Kane.
So initially when people asked me to talk about this situation, it was because of Clinton Kane. I'll give you the spark notes of what happened because truly we are not going to be focusing on this situation in this video. Along with being a certified clown, this man is also a musician, which generally in Los Angeles goes very closely hand in hand. He also lied about being Australian. He faked an accent. The mortality of his family, namely his mother and his brother, and also his age. He said he was 2 years older than he actually was. This relationship happened 2 years ago, and Brooke recently came out with a 17-part series detailing what he did to her. His response was an even longer series of 24 videos addressing 24 different lies, and the 25th video was him taking accountability. The entire internet was writing for her because this was genuinely insane. And this is truly a testament to how the internet moves because things have shifted rather dramatically.
The tweets!
Let's take a look at some of these tweets. They're shocking. They're shocking. The first tweet that I think that everyone saw resurface was this one. And honestly, I'm a pretty stoic person, so when I saw it, my jaw dropped. This is probably one of the more disturbing tweets that I've seen resurface. I think if I ever subscribed to this type of mentality, or if someone that I knew, I found out that they subscribed to this type of mentality, I think the unlearning that has to go in to just washing this away from your conscience and your soul and really gaining perspective about why something like this is wrong would take a lot. And I know that because I've been on the other side of that, and I know how scary discrimination can be. There's also a tweet on her mom's account quoting a tweet that is now deleted, really just doubling down on some evil stuff. There are so many other tweets that a majority of them are directed towards Black people, using verbiage and exposing situations that are just unsettling, to say the least. And this is why every single time a new Caucasian influencer gains the attention of the general public, I will always go through their following and see what types of people they follow. One of my ex-best friends was obsessed with Alex Earl. And I remember at the time going through Alex Earl's following, and I was telling my now not friend, I was like, it's so weird to me that she only follows 3 people of color. And it was immediately oh, well, it makes so much sense to me because she's gonna follow who she knows. She's a white girl. So of course she's gonna follow only white people. That is actually crazy. That is actually crazy. And it's shocking because a lot of people think that. Oh, well, they live here and they're in a sorority and they're just surrounded by these types of people, blah, 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 blah. I really cannot relate. It is possible and it's so important to have a diverse group of people in your life. That is what makes your life well-rounded. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's true, but it's true, but it's true. It's true. And I would also just like to point out, if you go through Brooke's Instagram, she does not have any friends who are people of color. There are no photos of her with people of color. I'm just saying. Around the same time that she's tweeting these very tasteless things, this tweet kind of stood out to me. This really kind of puts it into perspective to you that the hate was channeled in a very specific direction. If you're speaking out about one type of discrimination, it is very, very sus that you're kind of tweeting these other things too.
Brooke's apology.
So obviously when these tweets resurfaced, Brooke gave us an apology.
All right, you guys, I have had a lot to say about accountability lately and how important it is and how far it can go, and I feel like I'm not taking my own advice. Obviously, by now you guys have seen the tweets that are circulating around. They unfortunately are not fake. Those are real tweets, like real things that I said.
There is something just so embarrassing about making a 17-part series about a situation that happened to you. Rightfully so, you know, totally rightfully so. But just so crazy because for so long I was seeing like posts about her being on podcasts talking about this Clinton Kane situation, and this post would have like millions of likes. For it to kind of all crumble into the situation where like she's talking about this, and this is bleak, you guys. Like it's bad.
First of all, I want to acknowledge that I feel the same way about them that you do. I think they're so disturbing, they're wrong, they're horrible, and they're disgusting. Of course, I do appreciate the people who are coming to bat for me and like saying like, you know, it was so long ago and like she's grown and stuff, but like it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't fucking matter.
I'm gonna get my pettiest complaint out of the way first. Her using the light makeup filter while making this TikTok, dystopian. Your dedication to look snatched and just like evened out, it's making me scream a little bit.
I want to talk about particularly the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman situation. Try not to be so emotional because I don't want it to seem like it's like a sympathy thing at all. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all, and so I'm trying like to be really careful about that. I just want to explain like and give some context into like my mindset at the time.
So I feel like we see this type of apology a lot when it comes to people apologizing for all the isms. It's like immediately shifting the blame and explaining when that's not really necessarily what the situation calls for.
As is true for a lot of grandparents, they're a little bit less progressive than a lot of us are now. And my grandma has dementia, so it was really just like me and my grandpa, and he is a very, very right-wing conservative man, okay? It was like my household was literally just Fox News all the time, and that was just like the only thing ever that I had been exposed to. A lot of you guys have also seen my mom's Twitter because she was responding back and forth about the Trayvon Martin situation, and I just should have known better. I know her, and I should have known that she is not somebody that I take any sort of political insight from. Honest to God, you guys, it wasn't until like even after college that I really started to like shift my way of thinking. And there are people in my life who I might have looked up to forever who I do not agree with. And I think it's amazing now that people are like learning earlier on about politics and like forming their own opinions outside of like what their parents think or what they're hearing or whatever it is. But that just wasn't the case for me. Whatever I heard, I passed on.
I mean, she spends 80% of the time like explaining and justifying her tweets instead of actually saying sorry. She also doesn't necessarily address the Black community directly, which is very interesting, also an interesting choice. I mean, this entire video kind of feels like it was filmed on a whim, which I think when so many people are discussing you and it's such a sensitive issue that like clearly you have mishandled. I think just kind of being in bed after you've cried about it and like filming like this with the light the light makeup with the light makeup filter, it just kind of shows a lack of self-awareness, and also awareness of how serious the issue is, I think.
And I apologize for not having said something sooner. I just felt like I was getting these messages from people who like were hurt by them, and I felt like by bringing more attention to it, I was just going to be hurting more people, and that was not the right mindset. I should have said something sooner.
While I've been editing, I realized that I forgot to mention something really important. While these comments were resurfacing, Brooke actually left this comment on one of her videos. Clearly this is somebody asking her to clarify what
what is going on. And she said that she would, address them ASAP. But on her story, she was posting that she was at a Chapel Roan concert. I don't know. The sense of urgency could be debated.
I need you to know that, like, is not how I think. That is not what I believe. And I am 27 years old now. I've had so much time to, like, learn and grow and, like, formulate my own opinions. And they are nothing like they were when I was 17, 18 years old.
A great point that the comments were pointing out was that Trayvon was like 17. It's just a really jarring comparison. And so understandably, when this video went live, there were many complaints about it, that it was lackluster, that it was rushed, all certainly very true. And so Brooke put up a second apology video.
Brooke's second apology.
You guys, I want to talk about my last video, okay? Because I am listening to everybody, and obviously I am reflecting and looking back on it, and I do agree with everyone that I missed the mark. I obviously saw everything that was going on, and I saw how hurt everybody was by it, so I felt like I just had to put something out as soon as I physically could so that nobody thought I was ignoring the situation or didn't realize how, like, important it was. But as a result of that, I put out this, like, very emotional, scrambled video where I essentially made none of the points that I should have been making. First and obviously most important thing is that I'm so sorry, specifically to Black people and the other people of color who were offended by my tweets, okay? Because obviously I'm seeing a lot of, like...
If your cat is in the frame and it is bobbing around and jumping up when you're talking about something so serious, retake it, redo it, film it again. I know that's kind of a small thing, but it just feels the same as the first video, just kind of rushed and just kind of doing it to do it and get it out there. Like do it well, do it right.
Obviously I'm seeing a lot of, like, positivity in the comments and people saying that they forgive me, and it's all white people. And that's how I know I did not address this properly at all. So I want to be clear that this is directed specifically to Black people and other people of color.
I honestly think it's great that she brought up that a lot of white people in the comments were forgiving her. One of the comments that I kept seeing on multiple videos was, "They could never make me hate you, Brooke." And genuinely, like, I don't think I need to fill in the blanks for most of you to tell you why comments like that are not okay in this situation. And I feel like so many people were like, oh my god, everyone's trying to cancel her, this is too much, this, that, and the other. But this is just a reminder, having millions of followers on the internet, it's not a right, it's a privilege. Being a content creator is a continual commitment to have a positive space and take accountability for the things that you are sharing with a large audience, especially when you have such a large audience like Brooke.
I was old enough to know better, and not only did I choose to say those things, I chose to say those things on a public platform.
Something else I'm taking away from this video is, why was this made on TikTok? I feel like the jump cuts feel very weird, and I just feel like I would have liked to see this all happen in one take and not have it be so disjointed.
In my last video, I put all this emphasis on my family, thinking it was gonna, like, provide context, but instead it just made it look like I was pointing fingers and, like, placing blame. A conscious choice to not learn about politics until I was a young adult. But that did not stop me from tweeting political opinions. I wanted to appear that I knew more than I did and that I was educated.
I genuinely just think because there were so many of these tweets and they were so disturbing that this needed to be addressed, like, before this came out. The fact that she didn't already comb through it and delete it, like, it's scary. That's scary to me. Like, does it not show that she doesn't care? Because that's kind of what I'm getting from that.
I think a lot of people felt this way, but the murder of George Floyd shifted my mindset completely, okay? Because that's when I started to really research and learn what it was like and what it looked like to be anti-racist.
I think she's completely correct talking about the shift that happened after George Floyd. Even I myself was vastly more educated on the subject of hate crimes in America after that happened. And I know that it radicalized so many people in my life as well. I definitely don't disagree with that. I also think it's really, really important to hold people accountable, but let people learn and grow from their mistakes. I'm a similar age to Brooke, and I feel like when we were young, when we were in middle school, what we were watching, like YouTubers, for example, classic example, Shane Dawson doing the darndest things, and not even just that, bringing on people of color in his videos who made fun of themselves. So it's like it bred this culture where like things were not as cut and dry. Like right and wrong was certainly not as cut and dry as it is right now. Let's also get something totally clear. Are there things that I believe in, that I've said, that I completely regret? 10,000% yes. Have they been as bad as this? No, no, certainly not. It is so unrealistic or incredibly rare for a person to be completely like non-problematic. Believing all the right things does take a long time for a lot of people to understand.
But then I went off to college, okay? And I went to college in Arizona, which is still a red state, but Arizona is also a state with a lot of diversity. And I was a public health major where so many elements have to do with race and racial inequality. I wrote my college thesis on racial disparities. So how things like socioeconomic standing, health, housing, income, and so many other things can be affected by your race. I didn't stop learning there, and I don't plan to stop learning about these issues ever. I truly mean that, and I know a lot of you aren't going to believe me, and I understand that, but I do care about these issues.
But I wanted to touch on something that she talks about in this video, which is this thesis that she wrote in college. This was one of the tweets that resurfaced, and honestly, after seeing this, I feel like how can I really even believe what she's saying? Being college age and figuring this out is a little late. It's a little late. I'm sorry. It's a little late. You know, like I said, it's a journey, but it's a little late. To say that you've faked liberal views to get higher grades in school and then tell us that you find these things important and you researched this in college, ooh, ooh. It's not a good look.
I am sorry for my racist past. I am sorry for the people that I hurt. And I want to do everything I can to earn back your trust because it really is very important to me.
And on top of all of this, after this apology, she blocked a Black creator who called her out on this video.
Yo, Brooke Schofield, whatever, blocked me. And you know what? I'm so sorry. That your apology was trash, okay?
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much to take out of this apology. Quite frankly, it just felt like words to me.
The aftermath.
Since these apology videos, more fuel has been added to the fire, which feels impossible, but it's happened. She recently followed Kamala Harris and Kamala Harris HQ. Okay. And one of the more jarring things that happened is she liked one of Aiden Ross's tweets with Donald Trump and then apologized for liking that tweet in a now deleted video. Truly, it's like you're already in such hot water and you've already apologized. Like what? Like the carelessness speaks just volumes, to be honest. Because I feel like this is how Caucasian women operate just generally. They don't care. They move in a way where they know that the world will forgive them, and they just like they act recklessly, carelessly, and they move with no self-awareness. And I feel like this shows us what the true intention is, in my opinion, in my opinion, in my opinion. People will continue to support people like Brooke, like Tana, all of these women who have done incredibly strange, disgusting things. It will be normalized in the influencer space. And let me tell you something, there are hundreds of people like this who are being supported and platformed. The worst part of this situation is that the canceled podcast will continue, and this will just be a little funny piece of lore in Brooke Schofield's book. It feels almost impossible to hold influencers accountable because when it was just celebrities, you would see them on a screen playing a character or singing a song with like basically no personality. Maybe you would watch an interview or two and feel like you knew who they were. But with influencers, we get such an intimate look into their lives and their mentalities, and we fall in love with people who are deranged. When you love them, it is so, so difficult to let go of people that you care about and you've formed this parasocial relationship with. I don't really know how the story is going to end, but I just hope that every time something new like this comes out, we as a society, as a collective audience, learns how to hold the people that we consume content from to a little bit of a higher standard. I wanted to thank you guys for going on this deep dive with me. It was truly grueling and I need to take an ibuprofen. If you enjoyed this deep dive and you want to see more of me, Cass, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and also hit the bell notification so you know every time I post a video. I also would really love to know what you guys think of this whole situation. I'm going to go lie down now, but I will see you guys next time. Bye!